What's up guys, it's Bolt, and I'm back with another Elden Ring build video. Today's build is going to be a pure dex build. So, similar to the pure strength build, we're not casting any spells in this one. It's just going to be straight up melee weapons with some nice Ashes of War combination. Let's get right into the stat breakdown. So we have our 60 Vigor, and I'm going to say this on every video guys, please have a minimum of 60 Vigor if you're going to be dueling and invading. Guys, the damage in this game is just too crazy, and if you want to survive, you're going to need a minimum of 60 Vigor. Mine is only 11. We're not casting any spells on this build, and thankfully a lot of the Ashes of War that we use do not require a lot of FP, so we're good at base mine. Our endurance is at 35 to wear a little bit heavier armor. We're not being poise monsters like the strength build, because we're not necessarily needing to trade hits. With dex weapons, you could attack quickly and get out. So, you know, it's kind of like a stick and move type playstyle. But there are going to be times where we will be trading hits. So, some poise is obviously beneficial, and poise can be beneficial in any build. So, we have 35 endurance for that. Strength we have at 18. And that's only to wield a couple of the dex weapons that had a little bit of a higher strength requirement. And then our dexterity will be at 80. This is the hard cap. After 80, you will see diminishing returns. So this is the best place to leave your dex at. And then all the rest of the stats we left alone. We didn't touch them. And let's go over our gear. Again, so this is the fashion that I went with. I kind of like the way it looks actually. Blad's blade, whatever his name is, his chest piece looks really cool. So I wanted to go for like a samurai type of a look since we're going dex focus here. So I think it looks really good, and I have a decent amount of poise. So fashion's there, but guys, you have 35 endurance. So play around with what fashion combinations that you like. And if you feel that you do not need the extra endurance, then feel free to put them into other areas that you know, would like. If you want more mind, if you're going to be spamming more Ashes of War or something like that, or if you want to do a hybrid type of a build, you'll have more flexibility. I will be coming out with some hybrid style builds in the future. These are just the pure melee type builds first. Alright, so back to the gear. And obviously we have our Archery's Favor because it's really good on any build, honestly. Bull Goat Talisman for the extra poise. That's pretty much, if you're not a pure spellcaster, then you're pretty much gonna need this on your build. And then always the last two I always interchange. So I like to use Shard of Alexander. For a lot of these weapon actions hit hard, and this will make them hit harder. I like to play aggressively, so I like my stamina to recharge faster, so I'll use the Green Turtle Talisman. But a lot of the other ones I like for this particular build is also the Spear Talisman if I'm using spears, or halberds that have a lot of poke attack. If I'm going to be doing a lot of jumping attacks, I'll use the Claw Talisman. Rotten Wing Sword Insignia is going to be really good on this build because we're going to be doing a lot of power stancing, wielding a weapon in two hands, and this procs very fast when you're using things like the curved swords or like straight swords, dual wielded, or even the katanas. So this is another good one to use. I'm still not very good at swapping gear yet mid fight, but these are the ritual talismans are good for opening the fight up if you're good, and then at the end of the fight if your health is depleting, these are also good to switch to. And then for Urimi, if I'm using my Urimi whip, I'll get into that in a second. I'll use the Axe Talisman to boost my charge attacks. And then you have your defense talismans here if you need to swap to them if need be. Your Blessed Dew if you need to swap to some health regen for utility. So that's basically the rundown on the talismans. So let's go over what weapons I've been using on this build. So I'm really loving the dual Nagakiba setup right here. Nagakiba is probably my favorite katana in the game due to the reach. But it has an insane running attack. The running R2 is just great for covering a lot of distance. And when you dual wield it, these L1s do crazy damage as well. I have it set to lightning. A lot of my dex weapons are lightning based because lightning does scale with dex, and also when you're dueling or invading, a lot of the areas you're dueling and invading in have water or it's raining. So if you guys didn't know, that boosts lightning damage by like 20%, I believe. So I'm getting more damage out of lightning-based infusions on my weapons. So for the Astral War that I like on the Nagakiba, on my right-handed Astral War, I like to use the Unsheath because it comes out so fast, and the Unsheath on the Nagakiba covers a huge distance. The damage is ridiculous. I've hit people for like 1300 damage with the Shard of Alexander, and it comes out very fast. It's great for roll catching it's good to follow up, after a running R2, you could just follow up to get a roll catch with that. On my second one, I like to use on a lot of my second weapons, my left hand weapons, I like to use like something like Thunderbolt. So if somebody's really trying to get away from me, or they don't want to engage, I'll use, or for a final hit, I don't usually spam it. I'll surprise them with it, and that'll usually finish them off or throw them off and make them play a little bit more defensively. Again, it's lightning based, so if you're in the water, that will do a lot of damage. I've done like almost 700 damage with it before, which is pretty good, and you can just keep casting it, keep casting it, keep casting it. Really good. So yeah, this setup right here is probably some of my favorite. I'll show you my other favorite setup for this. I like to go with the dual curve swords here, and I went with the bandit curve swords because they're the longest. With curve swords in all the Souls games, they're really bad with reach, so you really got to really hug your opponent to hit them. So I went with the bandit just for the extra reach, and again, they're also lightning infused. So with this one, again, I will put the Rotten Wing insignia on, because the running attack and the jumping attack on the curve swords, on the dual curve swords, will proc it. They hit like 4 times in a row. So if you look, that's like 4 hits right there, and then the running attack does 4 hits as well. So your Rotten Wing talisman will proc these things. Like, it's crazy how like dex weapons and colossal weapons are just like on complete ends of the spectrum. Like, this does like colossal weapon type damage. So just one L1 will do like 900 damage. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense to me. So what I like to use on the main hand curve sword is the Storm Tower. That guarantees me an L1 right after it, and yeah, like I said, it's just absurd the damage that you do with these things, especially when you have your Rotten Wing insignia procced. So then, again, if they're running away from you now, you can follow it up with a Thunderbolt, which is really nice. Let's go on to the next setup that I enjoy, or have been enjoying. So the dual Yurimis are another one of my favorite setups on the Dex build. I was never a whip user in any of the Souls games. But this one in particular really caught my attention with the R2 that it has. The charged R2 is really nice. It covers a huge distance, and people do not expect it. So if you hold it down, it comes out in like a spear type form, and that covers an insane amount of distance. So for this one, I'll use the Axe Talisman, and I'll use something maybe like Claw Talisman. Jumping attacks on the whips are pretty good, or the Green Turtle. But so for this, on my right-handed one, I like to put Royal Knight's Resolve. So I'll buff it up, and then with the Axe Talisman, I charge R2, over 1,000 damage easily. And whips in general are just really good for just covering a lot of distance and range. On my second whip, I like to keep the Thunderbolt on it, and just in case they really don't want to come close to me. Like, they're really just scared to come close to this, and I can just pick them off from far. The jumping attacks are really good on the whips. The rolling attack, not so much. I wouldn't use this attack much. And the running attack is decent. So yeah, the bread and butter here though is the Yurimi is that charged R2. Really, really good, guys, and it catches people off guard a lot of times. So you are good against fighting casters who really want to keep the distance on you, and then you can really look at that. What else do I got here? Dual straight swords, pretty similar to the curved sword, so don't really need to get into that. I do have my Grave Scythe, and I do have a Militia Shotel, just in case I need to fight a Great Shield user. These two right here go through shields, But the cool thing about the Militia Shuttle is this is something new with the buff to 1.04. Patch 1.04, the Ice Spear is actually breaks guard on Great Shield users, so that's a good way to counter Great Shield users. What else do we got? I got the cringe Naginatas, guys. The cringe Naginatas, and I don't duel with these, so don't worry. I know this is probably one of the strongest setups in the game. Double spears our setups are some of the strongest in the entire game, especially the Naginatas. Probably number 2 is probably the dual pikes, but the Naginatas with their bleed and their range is ridiculous. And then if you're on a bleed build, if you're running a bleed build and you got double seppuku on these things, it's like a one shot. Literally one L1, you kill somebody. It doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't be in the game, but it is. So, but thankfully this is not a bleed build. This is just Dex. So I'll put these lightning infused, and I'll only use these for invasions because you know gang squads are tough to fight against. So a stronger setup is needed, and yeah. It's just like the range on these things is crazy. Look at these and they just spam these L1s are crazy. For this, I like to use Storm Stomp because that'll guarantee me the L1 afterward. Or sometimes I'll use Giant Hunt on this as well because they'll panic roll after running L1. They'll panic roll and I can follow up with Giant Hunt and catch them. That's a broken ass setup though, guys. So don't abuse that one too much, please. And then the try-hard setup, which I started messing around with, still getting used to it, is an odd combination here. So I've seen some of the more experienced, skilled PvPers, such as G9, amazing player. He uses a setup such as this because of how quick the S-Stock is in the offhand, and it comes out so fast. So it's amazing for mix-ups. The halberd in itself has a great moveset. A lot of anything with pokes, guys, is just ridiculous in this game. It covers so much distance, and there's no true combos anymore. So an R1 to R1s aren't as strong as they were in the previous Souls game. So your running attacks are bread and butter, and jumping attacks. And halberds have really good jumping attacks. The jumping R2 is better actually than the jumping R1 because the recovery is very fast on it, and you get a nice roll catching with the sweep. Great for roll catches. So I would avoid doing the R1. It has a longer recovery than jumping R1. So with this setup, you're gonna have Flaming Strike on the halberd, and that'll combo. If the last part of the flame hits the opponent, you are guaranteed to follow up on. And then you just chase them down with these R1s once they start panicking, the running R1s, and then to throw their timing off. Once you get the timing down on your running attacks, you come out with these. S-Stock really fast. Only problem with this setup right here, it's really easy to parry. I've been parried a bunch of times. Just being overzealous. And yeah, it's not a difficult setup to parry, but with the right mix-ups, you will be fine. It's really strong, especially in ganks. Flaming Strike is great for ganks, and then the sweeping of the halberd will cover a nice large distance. So this is definitely a strong setup, and I'm enjoying it. I'm still getting used to the playstyle on it though, because I'm not used to the offhand S-Stock yet. So that's definitely a fun setup to use, different. And I do have the great thrusting swords here, the Stitcher and the Crag Blade, just for fun if I want to switch things up a little bit, but I haven't used them too much. So, but one other one that I do enjoy using was the Sword Spear, because it has a very unique moveset from the other halberds. This swings as fast as like a straight sword. So really nice R1 moveset this has. And it still has the poke of the other halberds, which is very strong. On this one I do like Sword Dance, which is right here. Really nice to use on this weapon. Comes out very fast. Covers a large distance. And then your R1, like I said, these R1s are really good, guys. And then you're jumping R2 with the halberd. So this one has a nice, unique moveset. Highly recommend this one. And it gets, I think, an A or S scaling. And yeah. So one of the stronger Dex weapons here. I think that covers it. It covers it all, right? Pretty much. Again. Yep, that's all the weapons pretty much that I've been using. If anybody has any other cool Dex weapons that they've been using and want to give me some recommendations, please drop a comment and leave it in the comment section below. I will definitely check it out. There's so many weapons in this game, guys. I'm still experimenting, see what I like. and seeing which Astros of War that I like and which I find useful. But definitely having a lot of fun with this game, a lot of variety, especially at 150. I feel like it's a lot of variety here, a lot of more hybrid builds than cookie cutter type meta stuff that you'll see at 125. And I know people argue, oh, 125 is meta, 150. I mean, play at the end of the day, you play where you have the most fun at. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let me hear your thoughts, and I'll catch everybody on the next one.
Hey! 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 Hey!